Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Manitoba Start is the leading provider of career services to newcomers in the province of Manitoba and connects business to a world-class workforce. I would like to welcome you all to this Labor Market Connection webinar, a series of live broadcasted events designed to assist you entering the Manitoba labor market. Manitoba Start acknowledges that we are gathered on Treaty 1 territory, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Anishinaabeg, Dakota Oyate, Denisulini, and Nehetoac nations, and the homeland of the Red River Métis. We acknowledge that our water is sourced from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation. As a newcomer serving organization, we commit to learning about the histories, cultures, and rights of the Indigenous communities. We strive to build a respectful and supportive relationship for all. Today's webinar is focusing on the CPA, Chartered Professional Accountants of Manitoba. My name is Luna. I'm the Outreach Coordinator here at Manitoba Start, and I will be your host for today's webinar. Given the large number of participants who joined this webinar, we have muted your microphone to allow for better clarity and less interference. So before we begin the session, I'll be going through a couple of housekeeping items. You can use the raise hand feature to indicate that you have a question or a comment. To do this, you can click on the participants button on the meeting controls and find the raise hand icon next to your name, and you can click on it. This will notify that we have a raised hand. You can do this by the end of this presentation, so we'll let you ask your question. Or Teams webinar provides a Q&A feature that allows you to ask your question specifically in that panel as well. To access this, click on the More Options 3 dots button in the meeting controls and select Q&A, and then you can type your question there. Moreover, feel free to use the chat as well. If you're using a mobile device, you can do the same. So before I introduce our presenter for today, I would like to run a few polls to get to know you more better. So I'll launch the first poll. So the first poll asks, are you registered with Manitoba Start? If you can see the poll on your screen, you can see the pop-up, then you can just click on yes or no, and then submit. I'll give you a moment to answer. Okay, now we will close the poll and I will share the results with you. So we have 7 responses and they are all registered with Manitoba Start. Thank you everyone for being Manitoba Start clients. The second poll asks, do you need help with a resume, cover letter, or interview preparation? Again, I will give you a moment to answer for this. Okay, now I'm closing the poll. We have 29% responses as yes, and we have 71% no. Thank you again. I will be sharing more resources on how we can help you on your employment. Okay, our third poll is asking where are you joining us from today? So it's asking your location. Are you from northern Manitoba, southern Manitoba, Winnipeg, or outside of Canada? See some responses on the chat from Winnipeg. Angela, welcome and thank you for joining us from today. Feel free to use the polls if they pop up on your screen as well. Thank you. Same back, Maria. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Okay, now I will be closing it. All the responses on the polls are from Winnipeg. We have Maria from Steinbach. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And welcome to our today's session. Our final poll for today is asking, what's your reason for attending this webinar? Are you an internationally educated professional, a settlement worker, a career coach, or other? Okay, now I will be closing. Okay, we have 67% internationally educated professionals, 11% settlement workers, and other 22%. Thank you everyone for participating in the polls. Okay, so today's webinar is featuring the CPA Manitoba. The Chartered Professional Accountants of Manitoba, or CPA Manitoba in short, is a regulatory body that represents more than 9,000 members, candidates, and students. CPA Manitoba protects the public interest through rigorous educational and certification programs and ensures its members uphold the highest professional and ethics standards. During this session, you will receive an overview of the CPA programs. So please welcome Katrine from the CPA Manitoba. Over to you, Katrine.
Thank you so much, Luna. I am just going to share my screen with everybody. And while I do that, there we go. Okay, so hopefully you can see that.
Yes.
Luna, just let me know if you can.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Perfect. Okay. I just wanted to start off by saying, first of all, welcome. I'm so honored to be able to share information about the CPA program with you today. I'm going to assume that you may or may not know about the updated version of the CPA program rolling out next year. So this is going to be a bit of a different type of information session. We're kind of in the right in the middle of running out the current version of the program, which will be the last time to register is November of this year. Okay. And then, of course, the new program starts next year, early next year in May. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with giving you just a brief overview again of the current version, just in case any of you are still interested in having an assessment done for entrance and seeing if you meet the entrance requirements to get in for that final registration for the current version of the program by November. However, I'm going to assume though also that a lot of you are interested in the new version and are kind of looking at getting into the new version. So the last half of the information session will be on that. What I'll tell you right up front, we do not have all of the details yet from the CPA School of Business about the new program. So I'm going to share with you sort of as much information as we know from the school. And there will be more information. A lot of the details that I can't share with you will be firmed up and confirmed over the summer and early fall. The other thing I'll say is, because there's so much to cover today, that I will try to get to some questions at the end. However, if we don't get to all questions, I will be sending a follow-up email to be distributed out to Luna, so she can distribute this email that I'll send right after this session is done. It will have links to all of the important information in my presentation today, both about the current version and the new version of the program. Also, the last slide and in my email will be numerous ways on how to contact us, how to book one-on-one consultations with us, so we can discuss any remaining questions together. Okay, so with all that said, here we go. So yeah, please hold questions till the end. And like I said, maybe the best thing is to use the Q&A so we can kind of go through as many at the end as we can. Okay, so let's start with basically the reasoning why the program was refreshed in the first place. Well, it was 10 years since the current version, the way it is looking right now, was rolled out. So it was time for an update. But essentially as well, they kind of took a look at the profession in general, and they saw a demand from employers to update the way that CPAs work, the information they need to know as a leader in business and that sort of thing. So some of the components that the new program is going to address, number one, it addresses the changing business environment, and it takes global considerations into that. It incorporates new topics like AI, which is, of course, a big one that everyone kind of needs to get on the same page with. AI. As a CPA, you might be leading projects that involve a lot of AI, so you have to be familiar with that and its impact on organizations. It also incorporates topics like Indigenous considerations into your business decisions, that sort of thing, sustainability, and EDI. Okay, so those are just some of the I guess components that the new program will be addressing. Of course, all of the technical aspects of accounting will remain the same. The rigor will remain the same. It's just that they're going to be updating some of those other topics. Now, the other thing that they're looking at addressing is the way you learn. So in 10 years, the way people learn online has changed, and they've received a lot of feedback. So they're going to incorporate things like more adaptive learning formats. It'll remain very flexible. Adaptive formats meaning, there's progressive learning, more feedback along the way, more opportunity for interactive learning, and a little bit more opportunities for, if you want, a little in-person touch points throughout the way as well. So again, we're going to address more of this in the latter half of my presentation. The other thing I just want to address here, because it's a little bit confusing for everybody, is who are you dealing with as you move through the program, right? So there's essentially, you can look at it this way. So it starts off with CPA Canada. So you can think of it as an umbrella. So CPA Canada It's sort of the voice of the profession on the international stage. You can think of it that way. There's over 220,000 CPAs in Canada and worldwide now. So that makes it one of the largest accounting bodies in the world. I think last time we checked, technically we were third largest. I don't know where that is right now, but anyway, one of the largest. And CPA Canada is in charge of the learning outcomes of the CPA program. So that's why the CPA program is the same throughout Canada. Now, under them, these are the two bodies that you really are going to need to keep in mind, okay, when you're going through the program. So the first is the CPA at the bottom there. You see the CPA Western School of Business. They are the school, okay? Think of them as they're the school that delivers the CPA program. And they deliver this program for everyone living in Western Canada. So that's why they're called the CPA Western School of Business. So everyone living in Manitoba and West applies for the program through them, deals with them for the entrance assessment, all of that. Okay. Now, our office, every province also has one of us. We're the provincial regulatory body. So our office, basically, we're the welcome mat for the profession. So anyone who's interested, you can talk to someone on the recruitment team here for an initial conversation about, hey, is this program right for me? That sort of thing. And what do I do from here? But mostly our office deals with the regulatory component. So once you're a CPA, we regulate you. We make sure you're abiding by your code of ethics as a CPA and you're keeping up with all of your education, your professional education as a CPA and that sort of thing. Okay. So I'm going to be referencing the CPA Western School of Business a lot during my presentation, or the CPA WSB is what people call it as well. So let's get right into just a basic overview of the current version of the CPA program. This program, you're going to see it being called CPA PEP, okay, the Professional Education Program. That's what the current version is called, CPA PEP, P-E-P, okay? The new version will not be called that, okay? So just so you know, if you ever see CPA PEP, generally you can know that that's the current version of the program. So the three eligibility or entrance requirements to the CPA PEP is number one, an undergraduate degree. Okay, number two, a total of 120 credit hours of post-secondary education. So that can be earned solely under your degree or a degree, bachelor's degree plus a certificate program or any other post-secondary education. But 120 credit hour total is what they're looking for. And then in the current version of the program, there are 14 individual, what they call prerequisite courses or subject areas that form that foundational knowledge for the program. So you do have to satisfy all of those areas as well to enter the current version of the program. Okay. Then once you're in the program, there's really three sections or three components. So number one are your modules. This is, your courses. There's 6 of them total, and they're done one at a time in an order. Okay, they all build off of each other. After your last module, you'll be writing the common final exam. So this is a 3 consecutive day. And you can think of it as an exit exam, really. It tests you on everything that you had covered over those 6 modules. And the idea is at the same time, you will also be working and earning accounting experience as you move through the program. So they want to see that you'll be reporting this experience as you move through. By the end, to meet the experience requirement, they want to see you've earned a total of 30 months, so 30. And we'll get into all of these areas in a little more detail. So let's start with the 3 eligibility requirements. So like I said, number one, they want to see, have you earned at minimum a bachelor's degree? Now, this degree can be from Canada or outside of Canada. It can be in any discipline to meet this degree requirement. It doesn't have to be accounting related. And it can be a 3 or 4 year degree. So if you've earned your degree from outside of Canada, you would have to, when you're applying for eligibility, you would just have to also, because if it's outside of Canada, they want to make sure that it's equivalent to a Canadian 3 or 4 year degree. So you would just have to also have submitted what's called a third-party evaluation on your degree. Okay, so we'll get into that in a little bit more detail as well. And then they're going to count up, the CPA School of Business is going to count up all of your credit hours. So if that's a 4-year degree, generally you're going to have 120 credit hours right there. If you've got a degree and a postgraduate degree, extra credit, right? So they'll just make sure you have at least 120 credit hours, and then they'll go course by course through all the subject areas you took, and they will see how many of those 14 prerequisite subject areas they can give you credit for. What I'm going to tell you right off the bat is if you've earned your accounting degree, or sorry, any degree from outside of Canada, even if it was accounting related, expect to have at least a portion of those remaining to complete. For example, tax. Well, if you covered tax outside of Canada, it wouldn't have covered Canadian tax law, right? So I just wanted to put that in the back of your mind for expectations, to set your expectations, okay? We'll talk about how to earn any missing prerequisite courses that you need to take in a moment. All right, so in terms of those prerequisite courses, these are the names, okay? These are all the areas. So in the current version of the CPA program, you're going to have what's called, the very first step for everyone is to have what's called a transcript assessment done by the CPA School of Business. They will confirm these 3 areas. When you get your assessment results back, they're also going to list all of these topic areas and let you know exactly which ones you've got credit for and which ones you still need to complete, okay? So that last column there, you'll see the minimum grade requirement that they use to let you know, or to find out if you get the credit. The other thing I will just say is that for the portion of the more intermediate and advanced prerequisite courses, there is a 10-year time limit on those from when you took the course to when it still counts for credit. Okay, so for example, advanced financial reporting, you would have to have taken no more than 10 years ago and received a 60% for the course, all right, to get that credit. So that's what they're going to do there. Now, hey, what if, very likely, that they say, okay, these are the courses that you get credit for, and there's a chunk that you still need to take, okay? How do you go about completing those, and what can you do? So this is where things are a little in flux, as we say right now. Up until this point, the CPA School of Business has delivered every single one of those topic areas through the CPA School of Business, so that you can finish them off through the CPA School of Business online in a flexible format. They call them the preparatory courses, okay? They're currently still being delivered. However, with the new version of the program starting in 2027, they are actually discontinuing these preparatory courses at the end of 2027, so in about a year and a half. What I can tell you right now is if you need to complete more than, say, 6 of those 14 prerequisites right now, you're very likely not going to get every one of them covered and completed before they're discontinued, okay, through the preparatory courses. There's only 6 more sessions left, or 6 more exam sittings left for these preparatory courses. And we highly recommend one at a time. But even if you doubled up, which is really intense, especially if you're working full time, even if you did that, at this point, you'd only get through 12. And that's assuming that you complete and pass all of the exams, right? Two. So what we're kind of telling people right now is there's going to be more information coming out in the next couple of months over the summer about an alternative through the CPA School of Business on how to cover off, if you want to, those topic areas for knowledge to come into the CPA program. But if you want to get going right away and just see how many you can get done before they're discontinued, absolutely. You can have a transcript assessment done right away. and you can start taking your remaining prerequisites through the CPA School of Business. And if you don't complete them, you can actually now complete them online through a partner university of the CPA School of Business. It's called Athabasca University. Some of you might already be familiar, but there's been an agreement between Athabasca University and the CPA Western School of Business that anyone who needs to complete any remaining preparatory courses can just transfer already what they've completed through the CPA School of Business to Athabasca University, so that they only have to complete any remaining topic areas or courses, the equivalent courses, through Athabasca University. Both are online, flexible. Okay, so this is assuming that you're working full time, you would like a flexible online option. There is that option right now. If you want to just wait and see what this third option is, I'm not allowed to talk about it yet. Then I would say hold tight for the next couple months. Okay, and just there'll be much more information coming out. We're being told by end of July. Okay. Anyway, all that to say, if you want to start right away, you can. Okay. Now, the current version of the CPA program looks like this. So there are 6, like I said, individual online modules. So once you've completed all your entrance requirements, including those prerequisite courses, this is what you would enter. If you've completed everything and met all requirements by the last intake, which is November, okay, of this year. Okay, so if that's you, this is what the current version of the program will look like. So they're all 8 weeks long. Every single module, 8 weeks. So you're going to take the first one, 8 weeks, write that end of module exam, move to the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So you'll see the topics covered in each of these modules. I would say I'm just going to point out that modules 3 and 4, elective 1 and elective 2, is going to focus in on just one topic from that list. Okay, you can pair any 2 topics together. They do a really deep dive into those areas. So by that point in the program, you will know what area of accounting is really what you want your career to be in and focus in on. So that's where you can pair up any of those 2. The one exception to pairing up any 2 together is if you want to be in public accounting. So working, say, in a big either CPA tax and audit firm, or maybe starting your own public accounting firm, you have to meet what's called the licensure requirement for public accounting. And that's a government thing, a government regulation. So they say we need to actually cover off tax as your topic for elective, one of your electives, and assurance as your topic for your second elective. Okay, so that you're really in depth in those areas. And then everyone moves on to Capstone 1, which is a big case that you cover during that module, and then Capstone 2, which is preparation mostly for the common final exam. Okay, so that's sort of what your pathway looks like. The common final exam is, like I said, it's a 3-day exam. It's offered twice a year until the end of the program, until that, the program is run out. And it covers everything you've covered in those modules. Now, day 1 is really covering more of that case you did in Capstone 1. Day 2 and 3 are more about what you've done in the first and your electives, your first, second module, and your electives. Okay. So all of that kind of takes approximately, you could do it in as quickly as if you did them back to back to back to back to back. You probably could finish in about 2 years and then write the common final exam. But we find on average, most learners get through this academics in about 2.5 years or 3 years, because they take sessions off in between, and you absolutely can. Okay. So now moving on to the practical experience. The practical experience component, like I mentioned, they want to see that you've reported 30 months of accounting related experience as you move through the program. Now, some of that can be from prior experience, But I just want to show you really a high level graphic, I guess you could call it, on how you would report it. So you can work for any employer as long as it's accounting related. But again, if you're trying to meet that public accounting licensure requirement, you need to be working for what we call one of our pre-approved program route employers in public accounting. So these would be like your big accounting firms like MNP, like Deloitte, right? Like EY. There will be a list I will link you to all of those employers. Not all of them are public accounting, actually. So really the difference between a pre-approved program route employer and anybody else, any other employer, is really just how you're moving through your experience and how you're reporting it. So the pre-approved employers have hired so many CPAs every year, or sorry, CPA learners in the program every year, that they've come to us and they've said, hey, can we just pre-approve 30 months and the supervisor will walk their employee through everything over 30 months. There's a lot less reporting that the learner has to do on their end. Really, it's their program manager at that place of employment that does it all. Okay. The other experience verification route is any other employer. You can have a fantastic opportunity in accounting with an employer outside a pre-approved employer, but there would just be more reporting to make sure that you're on the right track. Okay. So the profession will say, oh, great, this over 6 months, you're doing the right thing. Now maybe cover this, and they work with you and your employer a little bit more closely to make sure that you're on making inroads into your experience and that there's no surprises at the end. Frequently asked questions, like I said. So if somebody has accounting experience from either in Canada or outside of Canada that they've earned prior to entering the program, they can report some of that as prior experience. So like it says here, you can bring up to 12 months of those 30 months in as prior experience if it's deemed as meeting the accounting related experience. It can't be older than 5 years though from when you start the program. Okay. And accounting related experience, another question we get all the time. It's not an entrance requirement either to this version or the new version. So if you don't have an accounting related position yet here in Canada, do not worry. You can enter the CPA program without having that experience at that time. So again, time frame about 2.5 to 3 years realistically to complete all of those components. You can complete the academics before the practical experience. So you can write your common final exam and get that done before you've reported all of your experience, or vice versa. Okay. But we find that on average, it's about 2.5 to 3 years. And in terms of cost from start to finish, you're looking at about 14,000 Canadian dollars. So for the entire program, which is very competitive, I would say, to other programs out there. You do not need to pay that all up front. Okay. You just pay as you register for each module as you go along. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about the program, all the types of program supports that the CPA program has, but you'll be able to see that list. I'm more going to just talk about the career supports again, because a question we get a lot is, well, do you help me find my first accounting position here in Canada, and or a position in accounting? And the answer is no. Our office doesn't do that. We're not a job match. We don't have that service. But what we do have is something called the CPA Manitoba Career Hub. So it's essentially like a private job bank just for CPA members, learners in the program in Manitoba. And all jobs on it are accounting related. They range from entry to mid-level to, professional level positions. And you can register for the full access to the Career Hub once you're enrolled as a learner, okay, in the program. Okay, so we're almost at the end of the current version of the program. I just want to check the time to make sure I'm on track. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is financial support. And again, I'm going to say financial support is going to be there for you for the program, no matter if it's the current version or the new version. The details aren't all worked out for the new version yet for exactly what type of financial support and how you register for it or apply for it yet. But what I can tell you is for the current version, these are sort of the three main avenues you could look at. So the very first one is through our office. The CPA Manitoba Foundation offers all types of financial support for all kinds of different financial support needs. So there's bursaries, there's scholarships, and just there's ones based on, grades, but there's also opportunities to apply just purely for financial need, right? So again, I'm going to link to all of these options for you in my follow-up email. You could take a look at that and how to connect with somebody, the coordinator for these programs. Through the government, there's also something called the Manitoba Government Funding Program for Internationally Educated Professionals. It's a long title. But again, I'll link you to their program as well, because if you're accepted, you could have your entire program funded through them as well, non-repayable, okay? And then there's also something called Recognition Counts program. It's offered through Seed Winnipeg, and they've partnered up with the Assiniboine Credit Union. This one is a loan, but it's a very, very low interest loan, up to $30,000 Canadian. So again, I'll link you to that as well, and you can take another look at that. And then this program, also the new program as well, I just want to put it out there. You do have to be lawfully eligible to study and work in Canada. So that means that you would need to either be a Canadian citizen, permanent resident, or apply for a study permit to enter the CPA program if you're a temporary resident. So again, with the study permit cap, so if you're a temporary resident and you're on a work permit, the CPA program does have a DLI number with the government. So that's the good news. The not so great news right now is that the government implemented this study permit cap in Manitoba, well, in every province, but there is a cap. So if you're applying for a study permit, it's not a 100% guarantee that you will end up getting a study permit, just depending on what time of year you're applying, how many study permits are left to give out in Manitoba for this particular program. But just so you know, that is a possibility. The one thing I'll say about that, and again, the one exception to the study permit rule is because there's a limit to how many study permits we can give out, the CPA school is not giving out study permits at all for anyone who's a temporary resident but wants access to the prep courses. Okay, not the program itself, the prep courses. Okay, so you will automatically, if you ask about that, they will tell you we don't give study permits out for that. So if you're a temporary resident and you're looking to fulfill the prerequisite courses, you would probably have to go elsewhere, like Athabasca University, who generally do give out the study permits for those courses, okay? Last slide, I believe this is for members. If anyone here is a member of an accounting body, like ACCA, CIMA, the CA of India, that sort of thing, ICANN, just know that there are agreements with these bodies. If you think you fall under one of these agreements, there's all types of agreements. So there's everything from MOUs to, mutual recognition agreements. I'm not going to get into detail here. There's just no time. There's so many different types. So obviously connect with us individually and we can talk everything through with you. The new version of the program, by the way, will still have agreements. They have given us no detail yet about what that's going to look like, how you would apply under, as someone who is a member of an accounting body outside of Canada yet. That will all be sorted out again over summer. Okay, but just know that yes, these agreements, they're not all going to go away with the new program. They might look a little different with the new program. I don't know yet. Okay, but just so you know, with the current version, we can give you all those details. All right, so if somebody wants to right away get this transcript assessment done to find out where you stand against the current version of the program and how many prerequisites you'd have to complete, you can go ahead and get one of these done. I'm going to link you in my follow-up email to the step instructions on how to do that. Okay, it's all done online through a profile you're going to create. The very first fee that you pay then is for this transcript assessment, and it's $200 flat fee to the CPA School of Business. Okay, it'll walk you through how to have documents submitted, all of that good stuff. So you can absolutely have one done. The nice thing is also, if you get that information back, that might help you make a decision on whether it's worth it for you to try to complete all your prerequisites before that final registration deadline in November. Or if you think it's going to take me too long, I'll just relax a little bit and wait for the new version of the program to roll out. That's fine too. Okay. So that might actually give you some information that will help you make that decision. New program. Okay. So again, I will be sending you all kinds of information about the new version of the program as well. So we're just going to start with, again, the admission requirements. The admission requirements to the difference really between the current and the new version of the program, there aren't many differences at all. You're going to see degree still exactly the same. That degree requirement remains the same. Okay. The 120 credit hour requirement remains the same. The one tiny change, they're also going to just be taking a look at your GPA on the degree, or just your latest 60 credit hours of post-secondary education that you've done. And they just want to see that you've got a 65% average, okay, just on those latest 60 credit hours, okay? So whether if you've just done one degree, that'll be that last 2 years approximately, or if you've done a degree plus a postgraduate something, they'll take a look at those as well, and they'll average that out. The prerequisite knowledge, okay, you're still going to have to cover those topic areas. The way that they divide up those topic areas is a little bit different. We're going to cover that in the next slide, okay? But you're still going to have to cover prerequisite knowledge. So again, the transcript assessment you're going to have will just be they're just for right now. You're just going to get information on those 14 prerequisites for the current version. But over summer, they're going to actually be going back and assessing everybody again for the new version of the program. So everybody who hasn't enrolled yet in the current version will get an updated assessment against this kind of new way of looking at those prerequisite courses, okay? Now, the work and study eligibility remains the same as well. Like I said, you need to be either a Canadian citizen, a PR, or you have to have the appropriate study permit, okay, to enter the program. This good character and reputation, it is identical to the current version as well. They've listed it here, but really when you apply for admission, there's going to be a checkbox asking you, are you of good character and reputation? They basically just want to make sure that if you have a criminal record, you can list it there, and they just want to make sure that a little committee takes a look at that. If you have one, it doesn't necessarily block you from entering the program, but that's just sort of like a thing that's going to be on your admission form when you fill it out, okay? So it's just listed out here as sort of what looks like an extra thing, but it's really not. Now, the accounting and business knowledge, I'm going to link you to some really good resources to explain further what we're talking about here, okay? But really, you're going to see here, they're going to take a look at the courses you've covered again, and they're looking at two things with the new version of the program. So they're looking at an overall total, have you taken 45 credit hours in business and basic business and accounting. 21 of those 45 credit hours need to be in those particular 6 topic areas. So they're going to be looking at it that way. The other 24 credit hours can be in any type of business course. So there's a little more flexibility that way as well. Okay, so honestly, anyone who's graduated with a business degree of any kind very likely you're going to meet those 24 general business credit hours. It's more so those 21 credit hours of specific topic areas that they're going to look at. And then there's something, if they've given you an extra option with this program. So say you meet the degree requirement and the credit hour requirement, but you don't have all of those topic areas covered in your education. This other option is really for individuals who have been working in the accounting industry for a while and have kind of covered those topic areas in the workplace. There's something called the knowledge assessment that you can write. Don't think of it as, it's not an entrance exam, but it is an exam that you will write as long as you have your degree, 120 credit hours, and it will test you on those foundational topic areas. If you pass it, you're in. You can come into the program. Okay, that's not an option currently for the current version of the program. It will be an option for the new version. So anyone who wants to try it that way, instead of going back and taking any missing topic areas through courses, can. Now, the third option on how to cover those topic areas that I was talking about that I'm not allowed to talk about yet, I was talking about it, I'm not allowed to talk about it yet, will be, I'm allowed to tell you that there will be some sort of preparation course offered by the CPA school for this knowledge assessment to prepare you to write it, to kind of allow you to know what's going to be on it and that sort of thing. It will be online. That's all I'm allowed to tell you. Again, more information on that will be coming out over the summer. So think of it as you can either fulfill the subject area by accounting and business coursework or by writing and passing this knowledge assessment. Okay, those are your two options. Just looking at time. Okay. So again, this is what the current version of the program looks like. Your 6 modules, all the same length, right? Common final exam after your 6th module and the practical experience, 30 months. New version is going to look like this. So there are, instead of 6 individual modules, there are going to be 4, but they're going to be different lengths. So don't get all excited, oh, it's going to be half the time. No, they're going to be different lengths, with the foundational development module, the very first one being the longest, and the CPA professional readiness, this one here, this is the 4th one. The CPA professional readiness module will be the shortest at about, I think it's about 3 weeks long. But the actual lengths of each module hasn't been officially announced yet. So same thing, you're going to do one module at a time. You're going to cover foundational development, write that exam, move on to the CPA core, that exam, CPA leadership, that exam, and then finally the CPA professional readiness. You're going to write that exam. Notice what's missing. There is no common final exam after these 4 modules. So once you've written all of those exams and completed those modules, you're done the academic portion of the program. So that might be a plus for a lot of you, right? Now, the work experience requirement. You'll notice here that it will be a total of 24 months. So we're going to get into the work experience in just a couple more slides. And I will link you, by the way, to information on what these modules cover. Okay, way more information about that. Again, not all details about how these modules will be delivered. By the way, they will still be online. Okay, so don't worry about that. But everything to do with the modules, how they're going to be delivered, all of those ins and outs, how to register will come, okay, over summer and fall. Before I leave the modules, I just wanted to make sure that I touched on all of these details that we do know. So like I said, the modules will be of varying lengths. This is to ensure really that they right size the length of each modules with respect to the content being covered. So something doesn't feel too long or too short. And each module is going to include an interactive learning activities like throughout. So a lot more interactivity to really help you, uh, you know, I guess, digest the information. Okay. And opportunities for more in-person touch points as well, if you want them. I don't have all the details about that yet, but I just know that there will be. So learners will need to earn a passing grade for each of the modules before they can write their end of module exam for each one. And there are 3 attempts at each end of module exam. And there will be exam preparation periods. So you'll finish the module, there'll be a week or 2 of exam prep before you write that end of modules exam. And they're going to all be offered 3 times a year. So kind of 3 sessions a year for each of these modules. Okay, so practical experience. So instead of 30 months total, they are just requiring 24 months now. And that doesn't include time off, so vacation, that sort of thing, but 24 months of work, okay, experience. So unlike the 30 months where you could bring in 12 months, because it's just 24 months, you can bring in up to 8 months of what they call foundational experience or prior experience, okay? So then you'd only have to complete 16 more months of experience while you're in the program, if that's your case. Now you'll see that a work plan, I'm just going to back up here and show you. Okay, so after you've done your foundational work experience, either bringing that in as prior or 8 months of foundational work experience, more entry level experience within the program if you need to. Once you're on those 16 months of more professional work experience, they're going to want what's called a work plan from you. So this is a different way of reporting. So instead of reporting throughout and reporting's more heavy at the end, they're going to approve a work plan for you at the beginning so that you can just go do it, okay, with your employer. So those get worked out between your employer, the assessors who assess experience, and yourself beforehand, okay? So I just wanted to let you know the ins and outs on how that's going to look. We don't know that yet either, okay? So that's really experience. And then the experience has to be completed, unlike the, I'll back up again, sorry. You'll notice here that the work experience needs to be completed before you register for your 4th and final module. So unlike the current version of the program where you can report experience after you've completed the common final exam, this ensures that you've got that all wrapped up and squared away before you complete your final module. That way, as soon as you complete that final module and you've passed it, you can become a CPA. You come straight into membership without any kind of lag, which is what they were finding in the current version of the program. Okay, so just some important dates. So again, January 2027 is when the very final first module starts or will be offered, but the registration deadline for your purposes, the last date to register for the CPA program and start that first module is November 23rd. Okay, so that's when the deadline is for registration. So you'd have to get everything else kind of squared away, all your entrance requirements met before that date. May 2027 is when the first offering of the new program modules is. And September 2028 is when the final offering of the CFE of the current version of the program is offered. So that means if you're in the current program, by September 2028, if you haven't completed the program, you will transition and complete in the new version of the program. So there is actually a transition path for anyone who hasn't completed the current version. Okay, they're not just going to say like, good luck, sorry, there is a transition pathway, just so you know. And then December 2028, like I said, the current version CPA PEP to CPA professional program transition deadline. That's where they will transition everybody who hasn't completed the current version into the new. Couple frequently asked questions here. So what is the structure of the new program? So like I said, 4 modules, 4 end of module exams, practical experience of 24 months. Is the new program harder or easier? No, it's not harder or easier. It's just refreshed. So really the like what it says here. It's going to be different from the current program in terms of how it's delivered, some new ways of doing things that reflect modern ways of delivering online programs, right? But it will still have the same rigor, the same depth, everything like that. So rest assured that it'll have the same respect. The CPA designation will have the exact same respect that it has now with the current version. Okay. Should I wait or should I start in the current version? Well, kind of up to you. That's a personal question, really. But you can start and continue in the current program until the modular exams you require is no longer offered. Again, everyone's eligible to transition to the new version. Okay. And then will the CPA prerequisite courses you're currently taking still be valid? So say you're going off of the 14 prerequisites and you're following that right now. If you meet those before, and you don't come into the current version of the program, are those going to be valid? Will you have covered the topic areas for the new version as well? Yes. Okay. So those 14 prerequisites for the current version, those particular courses, those will stay valid until the end of 2028. I know that was a ton of information to throw at you all. I hope I didn't confuse you more. The good thing here is that I'll be sending that very helpful follow-up email. It'll have how to contact us. You can book a phone or online consultation through the online booking tool that we will send as well. You can contact us at our email. And so we are happy to discuss anything with you if you need clarification on anything. Okay. Yeah, this is a very, very interesting time right now. So I would have been remiss if I didn't actually give you info on both versions at this particular time. So with that, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to check the time. I don't know, Luna, should we even get into questions or should we take just a couple? I'm good to do whichever one.
We only have a couple, so we can go with this one.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much first.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was very insightful.
You're very welcome. So maybe Luna, I'll have you read them because I'm sharing my screen, right? So yeah,
For sure.
great.
Yeah. So the first one is from Antonia. They're asking, "Hi, Katrina. Thank you for the informative session. Please, where can I possibly get desk copies of the ebooks?"
Okay. So you don't get access to any of the material for the modules or the current preparatory courses until you've actually registered. So the day you register for any of those preparatory courses, they're open enrollment. So you register, you apply for admission, so you get your transcript assessment done, right? Apply for admission, register for whichever course. Those courses, you can pretty much within a couple of business days, you'll get access to all of those ebooks and that sort of thing. I will send you actually, and I believe that's in the follow-up email. While you don't get access to the actual ebooks, there are what they call blueprints that I can link you to that kind of chapter by chapter kind of details all the topic areas. Okay. As well as the actual program modules, same thing. You don't get access to those until you register the actual ebooks. But again, the blueprints that kind of detail all those topic areas in each chapter, I can actually link you to those and you will see practice exams as well. You'll get access to some examples of the exams too.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So another question from Rahel is, "Hi, thanks for the informative session. When I evaluate my credentials through WES, should I do a course by course evaluation?"
Great question. And I'm glad you asked that. So yes, it's explained in the step-by-step instructions, but a course by course is what the CPA School of Business requires. And the reason is because they need a copy with the course by course. It actually, WES will forward a copy of your transcript that they used along with your overview, the summary of your degree. And the CPA School of Business uses that transcript copy to go through every course you covered and give you all the credits they can for those prerequisites. Okay, so you do need that course by course if you're doing it through WES. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And well, that's all that we have.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I know it was a bit of a slog of an info session, but I really appreciate all of your attention, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Keep an eye out for that follow-up email from Luna.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Catherine, for joining
Okay, you're
us today.
welcome. Bye.
Yeah, and thank you all the participants for your excellent questions. I have a quick survey here on the screen. Please feel free to scan it and then fill it for us, because our services are free and funded by the Immigration and Refugee and Citizenship Canada in the province of Manitoba. Your feedback is very important in helping us improve and continue to provide you high quality services. So if you are unable to scan this, I'm gonna just put it on the chat so you can um, use the link instead. So don't forget, Manitoba Start is here for you to assist you by providing services such as personalized career coaching, developing your resume, or job search assistance to find to help you find a suitable employment. Use this contact information to reach out. If you are connected to your career coach, feel free to reconnect with your career coach as well. If not, then feel free to email us on the front desk or maybe phone. You can also follow us on social media just to stay updated on our current events in person and online like this. So, on behalf of Catherine from CPA Manitoba and the Manitoba Start team, thank you everyone for attending and stay well. Have a great day, everyone. Martine, I can see you have, okay, let me just, what I can do for you, Martine, is because Catherine is no more here with us.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll just write the question. Perhaps you might see it in QA, and if there is a chance that if she could answer it, I will be so happy.
That's okay. So, Martin, what I will do for you is I'm gonna forward this to Catherine, but I'm gonna do a follow-up email with everyone. So probably you will get the contact information from there where you can connect with them directly. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. Good
Thank
day.
you, Lana. Have a good day.
Thanks.